Tonight, I want you to take the time to remember a very special man. His name is Dr. Frank Gabrin. Now, Frank was an ER doctor and two-time cancer survivor, so he knew how to fight. And he spent his final days tending to patients in a New Jersey hospital. When he was there, he knew he was compromised, he knew he was exposed, and he caught the virus himself. He died within a week, passing away on Tuesday in his husband's arms before help could arrive. Dr. Gabrin's husband, Arnold Vargas, is with us, along with their close friend, Deborah Vaselech. And I'm happy to have you both here. Obviously, these circumstances are not the way that I would want to meet anybody, let alone the husband and friend of a hero. I know you are heartbroken, but what do you want people to know about your husband and why he put himself in such jeopardy for people he didn't even know?
He was a person like he loved to do, help people. He just wanted to help people. He wanted just.
I know you're heartbroken. I know you are heartbroken. But you know what? People need to see what is being taken from us from this virus. Your husband had already fought through the battles he was supposed to fight. He beat cancer twice. And he was in there trying to help everybody else. And people have to know how far our heroes are willing to go, because your heartbreak will never be over. But we can do things to make sure that other doctors don't have to deal with it, Deborah. And I'm sure that if the doctor were here, Dr. Gabrin would be saying, you can't put people in this situation. We got to care more about the people we call our heroes, Deborah.
Absolutely. Frank put people first, whether it was his coworkers or the patient. He felt that if you became a healthcare worker, if you were a doctor or a nurse, you did it because you cared and you wanted to make a difference. You were there for a reason. You had made that decision long before. So he always worked to make the lives of the people he worked with as good as he could. He made sure that they felt good. He taught them how to get satisfaction with compassion. And even as this was coming on, he was finding ways to make it work. And he was still, the last thing he wanted, the last post that he had actually made was talking about how important it was for us to have compassion, kindness, and care for each other. He didn't expect this to happen as it was coming up, Chris. He really didn't. He was working hard. We were talking every day. I was saying, how's it going? He said, it's busy, but it's manageable. And it went from manageable to unmanageable overnight. And I think that's what happened. And even then, he looked for ways to make it work, even when he knew he was compromised.
And that is a very important part of this. He knew he was compromised, and he did it anyway. Tell us how that informs us about who he was, because that's not what people will do ordinarily. People are generally selfish, even doctors. Why would he do that, Deborah?
Well, I would tell you that he would say, and I think that this is true, because I don't think we're seeing that we have selfish healthcare workers right now. They're doing what they can, even though they're putting themselves and, most importantly, their families at risk as well, including the patients that are not currently compromised. I mean, it's a big thing we're asking them to face with no tools. It's like asking a soldier to go to the front line and giving them nothing to do their job. So I think with Frank, he would still know that it has to be done. What's your choice? You prepared your whole life for this. You went to school for it. You decided. Being in the front lines is what each one of these healthcare workers prepared themselves for. They did not expect to have to go it with nothing. And I think that's the hardest part. So what do? What are we asking them to do for us right now? And what are we asking them to do and putting their families at risk, as Arnold is currently sick? And I think it's important for us to take a look at that and to understand that Frank did this and would want some good to come from his loss, and not for anything but to make us wake up and pay attention. We need to care for each other, and most importantly, we need to care for the people that need to care for us.
Right. And you can't just say it. You know, you need to act on that. You're so right about our healthcare workers. You know, the reason we heroize them and say that they are not just our first responders, but the angels among us, is that they don't act on the selfish impulses that many of us do. And for you to say that Arnold is dealing, with this illness on top of now this loss, the only reason we share these stories is not to bathe people in pain. It's to make them understand the price of an action. And Arnold, I'm so sorry to have to put you in this kind of situation, but all I can tell you is this. When my family lost our father recently, one of the guys who's running for president right now, Joe Biden, called us, and this isn't about his politics. I don't care about his politics. He said, someday when your father's face and his name comes to your mind, a smile will come to your lips before a tear will come to your eye. And it may take a long time, but at some point, Arnold, when you think about your husband and everything he meant to you, you will smile before you cry. And I just hope you know that we will do everything we can to honor his service and make sure that people don't have to be in his situation, and that we will fight to make sure that people get a fair shake to do the job for the rest of us. I'm very sorry for your loss, Arnold. I really am.
Thank you. Thank you.